Hello and welcome to Grounded. This is my mage build video. I use all four of the magic staffs. You have the spicy staff, the sour staff, mint staff, and ant queen staff. I don't prioritize one over the others. I bring all four with me. However, in a future build video, I might focus on one specific staff. And I'll point out real quick, I have not upgraded anything past level 5, and all of my armor is not upgraded to sleek. It is on my to-do list. I just wanted to get this build video out. The trinket I am using is Thor's Pendant. It's a pretty good universal trinket. You can use this on any build. It comes with loads of buffs, and you can get this one pretty early. It's just a matter of going there and getting it. I will be using the Wizard's Hat, which helps to perform perfect blocks, as in it increases the window to make a perfect block. And of course, after you perform this perfect block, it will then increase the damage of all your staffs. Pretty sweet, right? Now onto the moth robe. The moth armor adds the bleed effect to ranged weapons. Works with bows and magic staffs. You only really need one, you don't need the full set. And good old Black Ox armor, which is really good for charged attack. Now, if you so choose, you can move a few things around. Example, your wizard hat is light armor, your moth robe is also light armor, and the Black Ox leg wraps are medium armor. Now, if you want slightly more defense, you could make the chest piece Black's armor and make this moth piece down for the legs. You know, it's really dealer's choice. Alright, moving on. So instead of Black Ox armor, there is another option. You can also try a fire ant leg plate, which a single piece of this armor set basically has a chance to lower their defense. A full set does have a chance to do an acid splash. So that might pair pretty good with the Ant Queen staff in a pure acid build. The Black Ox leg wraps, you need Black Ox parts, lint rope, and dust mite fuzz. Now these Black Oxes are pretty big beetles, and if you're new to the game, chances are they're going to kick your butt. The Fire Ant armor, just simply ant parts, lint rope, and dust mite fuzz. However, that one's purely optional and definitely more geared towards the Ant Queen staff. Moth armor is moth fuzz, pupa leather, and lint rope. Now you can fight a moth at any given time, but they do got a pretty big health bar, they stun and do a knockback, so if you're new to the game, you might want to wait before you do that. And good old wizard hat, crow feather, berry leather, and termite king carapace. Now hopefully when you defeated the termite king, you got enough parts to craft this. If not, you can either wait a few game days for it to respawn, or duplicate your items back at the Oak Tree Lab. Berry leather, you need a lot of leather in this game, I tell you what. And of course, crow feathers. And I will point out one last piece of armor, which unfortunately I don't have at this time on this character, and that is Brood Mother armor. A single piece gives your attacks a chance to add the poison effect, which sounds pretty nice with a magic build, or well, any build for that matter. However, that is a light piece of armor, and we have light armor here, light armor there. If we swap this out for Brood Mother, yes, we would do a lot of damage, but we would be wearing 3 pieces of light armor, and that's going to be very squishy, and you're going to take a lot of damage. I have heard a lot of people complain that New Game Plus is very hard. So, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be a glass cannon that does a lot of damage but basically gets one-shotted? Or do you want to be a little more smart about the build? Now let's talk mutations. You can have 5 total, and I'm still farming for the 5th one, so pay no attention to that. There is Widow Wizard, which you get by just simply killing stuff with your staff. Now, if you're playing in a group, you don't necessarily need Meat Shield, which adds a bonus 50 points to your health, but it never hurts to grab. And same with this one. Buff Lungs. I highly recommend getting this. It increases your stamina, which you're definitely going to want for magic. Coup de Grace is a nice mutation to get, adds a little crit chance, which increases your attack damage. And you can get that one pretty early. Now, just to spice things up a little bit, I use Sour Sensation because I'm a solo player, and let's face it, no matter what group you play with, whether it's solo or in a group, you're going to get hit at some point, so why not give yourself a little damage reflection? Adds a little nice spin to the mage build. Okay, now let me show you the attacks of these staffs so you know what they look like. We'll start with the fire staff. Its light attack is simply this, and its charged attack, the longer you hold the charge button, the more damage it does. Now let's see how long it takes. Okay, count with me. Click. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. 4 full seconds to perform a fully charged heavy attack. That's something to keep in mind. However, that fully charged attack does massive damage. Moving on to the Sour Staff. Got your light attacks, your heavy attacks. Now this is super slow, but the best part is it bounces off stuff. Check this out. Boing, boing. Now when you are in a cave, this staff is your best friend. It is awesome in caves. However, if you're fighting something that's flying and your aim is bad, there's a good chance you're going to miss it. And now onto the Mint Staff. This does not have a light attack. Instead, you have to hold the attack button down. And it's more of a pulse. 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 And now for the Ant Queen Staff. Again, no light attack. You simply hold the attack button. Now this specific attack does not count as a charged attack. It does not count as it. So swapping the Black Ox armor might be reasonable if you want to main with this weapon. You cannot fire a staff underwater, but you can do this. Pretty sweet, right? Okay, by now you're probably thinking, Prime, this mage build's looking pretty sweet. I gotta get my hands on these staffs. How early can I get this build? Well, let's take a look at it. Thor's Pendant, as long as you can get to the location, you can get this one pretty early. However, yeah, let's talk about the staffs first. Unfortunately, this is not a day one build. It is definitely a late game build. However, I'm sure some of you speedrunners will say different, but to each their own. Ant Queen Staff. You need to befriend the Fire Ant Queen, which is in this area somewheres. But in order to do that, you need to get a chip that is way up here in the Stump Lab Outpost. But in order to get to that lab, you need to press a button in the Pond Lab. And in order to unlock a door, in order to press that button, you need to complete the Black Ant Hill Lab and get the Assistant Manager keycard. That you 100% need to be a magic caster in this game. Now technically you can do all of these labs in whatever order you want, but ideally you want the Black Ant Hill Lab to be 3rd or 4th. Definitely not your first, because the enemies in here, they can be pretty rough. But again, you speedrunners would probably say something different. Okay, so let's recap. Beat the Black Ant Hill Lab. Get the keycard. Use the keycard at the Pond Lab to open a locked door, and press a button, which gives you access to the Stump Lab Outpost, which there will be a chip inside that you bring back to Burgle. And that chip will unlock the Tasty Toe Jam Sandwich. You need a donut chunk, toenails, and aphid honeydew. Just simply craft one and feed it to the Fire Ant Queen. She will gift you this wonderful baby fire ant. She'll give you some offerings of fire ant pheromones. And after you analyze that item, then you will have the recipe for the Ant Queen Staff, which is right here. Fire ant parts, the pheromones, gum nuggets, and fire ant mandibles. Okay, now let's talk about the spicy staff, sour staff, and mint staff. You will unlock all 3 recipes in the same location, along with the wizard hat. Now again, you're going to have to do the Black Anthill Lab, get the Assistant Manager keycard, and then you need to come all the way up here to the top left of your screen and fight the King Termite in this area. However, in order to reach this King Termite, you are going to need a Tier 3 axe, because there are some splinters in the way of reaching this boss, and you 100% need an axe to get past it. To get a Tier 3 termite axe, you need termite chompers, crow feather piece, and tough gunk. Now, this crow feather, you are going to need a Tier 2 axe in order to get it. Now, after you defeat the King Termite, just simply grab the chip that's standing right next to it, bring it back to Burgo, and boom, you got yourself some recipes. Oh, but we're not done yet. Come on back down here. Even if you have the recipes for the staff, you still need to go to the Sandbox Lab Outpost with the Manager keycard, Assistant Manager keycard. Because inside this lab is another chip that you need in order to unlock a recipe at the oven to turn your candy shards into globs. Again, you 100% need that to make the staff. Now, speaking of candy, you are going to need a Tier 3 hammer in order to smash the candy. So a Tier 3 hammer is the Black Ox hammer. You need Black Ox horn, parts, and pupa leather. Pupa, I mean. Now, even though you don't need a shovel for this specific build, it is worth mentioning, since you're going to be at the Black Ant Lab anyway, you might as well make yourself a shovel. Keep that gear upgraded. Okay, now on to the recipes. Mint staff, you need 5 mint globs, pine cone pieces, tough gunk, and more crow feathers. These pine cones you will also need your Tier 3 hammer in order to get. Spicy staff is spicy glob, pinecone, tough, gunk, fire ant mandibles. Sour staff, pretty much the same, but I will point out you need 5 globs of every type of candy per staff. Pinecones, tough gunk, pond moss. Now let's talk about pond moss. Now, yes, you can get to the location very early. However, in order to farm pond moss, you are going to need a Tier 3 dagger, and to my knowledge, there is only one in the game, which is from a Black Widow spider. You need Black Widow fangs, lint rope, that's another endgame item you need to farm, and super spider venom. Now, killing a single Black Widow will not get you all these materials. However, you can easily duplicate this stuff at the Oak Tree Lab. Okay, here's the Oak Tree Lab. Here's the pond. This is the upper pond, which is pretty easy to get to. You simply come up here, upper yard. You're going to have to go past this barbecue. It's very hot here. I highly recommend getting some antlion armor at the sandbox. And then you can just simply follow the wall all the way around. La 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 la. And boom. And fun fact, not only is there a field station here, but there is a Black Widow right in this area. Well, that's going to do it for this build. Tell me, what staff do you see yourself using? Now, if you found this video helpful, hey, hit that like button and consider subscribing. Take care, y'all.